Why is it that even when a woman finds a man who loves her, protects her, and gives her everything, she still feels restless, unsatisfied, and searching for more? Today, we expose a truth so ancient that even kings feared to confront it, the truth behind the hedonic treadmill, and why satisfaction, for most, is an illusion. Let us begin with the root of the human curse, the eternal hunger for more. It is called the hedonic treadmill, a force as old as desire itself. Imagine this: a woman dreams of love, attention, comfort, and security. She meets a man who gives her these things, and for a time, her heart dances. She feels chosen, cherished, complete. But soon something changes. The warmth she once adored becomes ordinary, the attention she once longed for becomes routine. And suddenly, what was once a treasure feels like a cage. She doesn't know why, but her soul whispers, "Is this all?" Human nature is a restless animal. We adapt to pleasure faster than we understand it. What once made us feel alive now fades into the background noise of our existence. It's not evil. It's evolution. Our minds are designed to crave progress, not peace. The very mechanism that drove our ancestors to conquer, explore, and create now drives us to destroy contentment in our personal lives. When comfort becomes constant, excitement dies. And when excitement dies, the illusion of happiness follows it into the grave. You see, satisfaction is not a destination. It is a mirage. The closer one walks toward it, the more it vanishes into mist. This is the cruel machinery of the hedonic treadmill. You may run faster, work harder, or love deeper, but your sense of fulfillment remains in the same place. What was once new becomes normal. What was once thrilling becomes predictable. The mind adjusts, resets, and demands another hit of novelty, another taste of the unknown. And this, my friends, is where the tragedy begins. When a woman falls into this cycle, she does not understand that her discontent is not caused by her partner, but by her own nature's betrayal. She mistakes stability for stagnation. She confuses peace for boredom. She begins to search for the very tension that once made her fall in love. She might not even want another man. No, her hunger is not for flesh, but for feeling, for the spark that routine has smothered. This is why even in the arms of a good man, a woman may feel something missing. The mind cannot stay thrilled by the familiar. It rebels against comfort, even when comfort is love. It craves contrast. The light only feels divine after darkness. And so, she begins to wonder, was this the right choice? Is there more beyond the walls of this contentment she once prayed for? Every gesture of affection becomes expected. Every moment of kindness becomes assumed. The man she once admired becomes background, not because he changed, but because she did. What was once a treasure becomes routine, and routine becomes invisible. And as she begins to feel that quiet ache, that nameless restlessness, a question begins to grow inside her heart, one that shakes the very foundation of love itself. If happiness always fades, then what is she really chasing? Desire at its core is not born from love. It is born from mystery. It thrives in the shadows, in uncertainty, in the electric space between wanting and having. When something is unknown, the imagination fills the gaps with fantasy. And fantasy, my friends, is the purest fuel of attraction. The moment mystery dies, desire follows it into the grave. In the beginning of any romance, there is a game, a dance between curiosity and restraint. A woman looks at a man and wonders who he really is. His silence intrigues her, his confidence challenges her, his distance keeps her imagination alive. Each unanswered question draws her closer, not because she understands him, but because she doesn't. And in that not knowing, her desire grows wild. She wants to uncover, to possess, to decode the enigma that he is. But when she finally does, when she learns his every habit, his every story, his every thought, the thrill begins to fade. The man who once seemed infinite becomes predictable. The mystery that once ignited her passion now dissolves into routine. Desire cannot survive in certainty. When everything about a person becomes known, the mind loses its playground. The chase ends. And when the chase ends, attraction weakens. The same man who once made her heart race now seems ordinary, not because he has lost his value, but because he has become too available. The unknown has become known, and the known becomes dull. Even kindness, when predictable, loses its meaning. Even love, when guaranteed, loses its tension. Understand this: the fire of desire burns brightest in contrast, when there is something to be won, something to be doubted, something to be proven. Mystery gives that tension. It is not deception, it is distance. It is the quiet discipline of not being entirely understood. But many men, once they win affection, surrender that distance. They give everything, their emotions, their time, their energy, in the hope that complete honesty will deepen love. They believe that transparency builds trust, but what they do not see is that total transparency kills allure. A heart that is fully seen is often no longer desired. Women are drawn not to perfection, but to possibility. The man who seems to hold secrets, who walks with silent confidence, who reveals himself in fragments rather than floods. He keeps her imagination alive, for imagination is what keeps attraction breathing. Once a woman stops imagining who you might be, she starts remembering who you already are, and memory is far less exciting than mystery. So ask yourself this: when desire fades, truly love that dies, or simply the mystery that once gave it life? Power. It is the invisible thread woven through every relationship, spoken of rarely, felt in every gesture, every silence, every glance. Many pretend love is pure and equal, untouched by power, but that is a lie people tell themselves to feel noble. Beneath affection lies influence, beneath tenderness, control. Even in love, one leads while the other follows. And the strange truth is this: satisfaction is not born from harmony. It is born from tension, from the unspoken struggle for dominance that keeps the bond alive. When a woman feels that she has full control, when she knows her man will never leave, never challenge, never say no, a strange restlessness begins to grow in her. At first, she might feel safe, but soon that safety feels too quiet, too certain, and in that certainty, her desire begins to wilt. She begins to test him not out of cruelty, but to feel the spark of resistance again, to feel that there is still a man before her, not a servant. Power, you see, is the currency of passion. It creates polarity. Without it, everything turns flat. The good man often confuses devotion with weakness. He believes that by giving her the world, she will stay loyal. By surrendering, he will be loved. But surrender without strength breeds contempt, not connection. A woman may appreciate kindness, but she craves the presence of power. She wants to feel that her partner cannot be easily bent to her will, that his respect must be earned. This is not arrogance, it is nature's balance. Even the gentlest heart seeks someone who cannot be easily conquered. Watch any relationship that dies quietly, and you will find a man who stopped commanding. He became predictable, too accommodating, too eager to please. The woman did not fall out of love, she fell out of fascination. She could predict his every move, his every reaction, and there is no excitement in that. The heart grows cold not from lack of affection, but from lack of tension. For where there is no challenge, there is no conquest, and without conquest, passion turns to ash. The wise understand that balance is the art of power. You must give enough warmth to inspire loyalty, keep enough distance to maintain respect. It is not manipulation, it is leadership. For love without power becomes servitude, and no one man or woman can desire what they do not respect. So the question becomes not how much love you give, but how much strength you hold while giving it. Because without power, love becomes comfort, and comfort, as we know, eventually becomes boredom. And once comfort replaces respect, what does she truly feel when she looks at him? Affection? The world has long worshipped the idea of the good man, the loyal one, the honest one. The man who gives without question, forgives without hesitation, and serves without pride. Society teaches men that goodness alone is the path to being loved, respected, and chosen. What no one dares to say is that goodness, when it stands alone, is often powerless. For virtue without strength does not inspire admiration, it invites advantage. And when a man forgets this truth, he becomes not a partner, but a possession. In the eyes of a woman, the good man seems perfect in theory. He is safe, reliable, everything she claims to want. But human desire is not built on safety. It is built on fascination, on the energy that comes from contrast. A man who is only good may be loved for his loyalty, but rarely desired for his essence. There is no tension, no edge, no mystery in him. His goodness becomes expected, his devotion becomes assumed, and what was once admirable begins to feel ordinary. The heart does not beat faster for what it knows it can always have. True power lies in duality. A man must be capable of both peace and war, a storm restrained, not absent. A woman feels alive not beside a man who obeys her every word, beside one who challenges her spirit, who commands presence, who carries an aura of danger that never harms, but always reminds her of his strength. For strength, coupled with virtue, becomes magnetism. It is not cruelty she desires, it is polarity. The feeling that she stands beside someone who could lead, not merely follow. The good man often gives endlessly, believing that love is earned through sacrifice. He bends, he explains, he justifies, until he becomes invisible beneath his own effort. Yet the more he gives, the less he is valued. For what is abundant is taken for granted. What is effortless loses meaning. And when a woman no longer fears losing him, she stops trying to keep him. She does not do this consciously. It is instinct. The same instinct that makes desire thrive on uncertainty. The irony is cruel. The man who tries hardest to please often ends up the least respected. His virtue becomes his weakness, his loyalty his prison. He forgets that, at its core, is a dance of dominance and devotion, and both partners must feel the power of the other. Without strength, love feels hollow. Without resistance, affection feels undeserved. A woman may thank a man for his goodness, but she will crave the man whose presence makes her heart hesitate, just for a moment, between fear and fascination. So the good man must ask himself, he loved for who he is, or simply because he is easy to love. Every man seeks happiness, yet few realize that the more they chase it, the further it runs. The hedonic treadmill spares no one. Those who beg for love, those who worship comfort, those who believe peace is the highest goal. But the wise understand a darker truth. Satisfaction is not achieved, it is commanded. It does not come from what you possess, but from what you control, and most of all, from what you can live without. Mastery begins where dependence ends. A man enslaved to his emotions, to his need for approval, to his constant hunger to be loved, is a man who can be broken with a whisper. The world senses his weakness, and women sense it most of all. The one who needs nothing holds the power, because nothing can be taken from him. He who does not demand affection earns respect. He who clings to it breeds disdain. A man of mastery does not chase comfort. He creates his own gravity, his own rhythm, his own silence. That silence unnerves others, for it is the silence of control. The modern man has been taught to measure his worth by how much peace he provides, how accommodating he can be, how much of himself he can surrender for harmony. But peace without dominance is surrender, and comfort without challenge is decay. When you stop striving, you rot quietly. And when a woman feels that her man is content with stagnation, she loses faith in his fire. She looks into his eyes and no longer sees a conqueror, only a caretaker. A man who once pursued excellence now pursues ease. And ease is the death of admiration. To master the hedonic treadmill, one must stop expecting gratitude. You give value not because you hope to be thanked, but because giving is your nature. You remain strong not to impress, but because weakness disgusts you. You lead not because you want followers, but because you refuse to be led. This is the Machiavellian way, to stand so centered within yourself that the world revolves around your calm, not your chaos. The man who achieves this becomes rare, and rarity is the essence of desire. Mastery is not found in the arms of comfort, but in the company of discipline. It is built in solitude, in control of impulses, in the refusal to let fleeting pleasure define your worth. The man who governs himself commands everything around him. The one who cannot rule his own emotions will always live as a subject to someone else's will. And so, every man faces a choice to chase the illusion of happiness, to conquer the source of it, himself. But then, the question remains: if love fades and desire dies, truly remains for the man who has mastered everything, except his own loneliness. So understand this: the problem is not women. The problem is human nature itself. Comfort weakens, power attracts, and satisfaction fades the moment it is attained. The wise do not chase happiness, they build influence. The wise do not seek to be loved, they seek to be remembered. For in the end, it is not the good man who wins a woman's heart, but the man who understands how her heart works.